So what was it like to grow up here? I mean, this is a city of 40-something thousand people. We're really on the outskirts. And it was pretty good, I must say. Comfortable, safe, calm. Kind of boring for young people, but whatever. It's a great place to grow up and then leave to go live in some more adventurous place, like I did. But yeah, look, beautiful surroundings. Just trying to give you a little impression of where I'm from. It's good to ride your bike here. So what was it like? Just fine. Can't complain. Stable family. Decent schools. Nothing else to wish for. Gay friendly. At least so-so. For the countryside. Like, it wasn't too gay friendly. But when I got out of high school, it kinda was. It was fine after that. And yeah, that's how it was. Life has always been fine. It can be very monotonous here in Netherlands in general, like it's a safe living space. I'm just gonna ride here. I have no idea where I'll end up, but it's safe, and the Netherlands is a very predictable country. Like, you'll know where you end up. That's a stable house like this in the suburbs, which is just okay-ish. I mean, we're in the top standard of living. We're in the top of living standards in the world here, you know. So nobody can truly complain. But it can be a little dull, like anywhere in the countryside. And here in the countryside, you still basically live as if you were in a big city. The whole country is basically a big suburb. So it's not like you get the benefits of living on a farm, like you know how to feed chicken or something, because that's not something we do here. So it's like a huge sprawling suburb. That's what it is. Oh, need to turn around. Either way. The nice thing is that these planned neighborhoods, you can just ride your bike anywhere. There's basically nobody bothering you. So that's all you need to know about my place. It's in the center of the country. Oh, it's just a bad place to ride a bike. It's in the center of the country. The city is kind of poor for our standards in the country, because it has a lot of lower income class people, but then again they still live like this in this sort of houses, which are social renting houses. I earn too much to make use of this social housing. That's one of my issues. I earn too much for the social sector, which I'll show you a bit of these houses. Too little for the private sector. A lot of people are stuck in between. Like, you can get subsidized, rent such a house for a few $100. And that's where you see the dilapidated gardens. Like, you have huge, or not huge, but you see from one street to another the different income classes. This is a lower one, but then you still live like this. I know for a fact that most of this is social housing. Like a lot of it. But not everything, you know. So, a lot of people have a car, but everyone has a bike. So there's a lot of young people, obviously. Like, or young people don't do an exodus like Bulgarians. Most people just always stay here. So yeah, that's some lower class area. Now we get to a bit of a lower class one even. Like you can see how our social housing looks in general. And it's just normal people living here. Like it's I don't know, it can be anyone, you know. It can be a single family, single households, can be immigrants, just a working class making their fair living, but still keeping a pretty high standard of living. Especially if you compare it to a lot of other countries, our standards are high up there. But if you're young, make a little too much for social housing, too little for private housing, like you cannot afford a house for €1,000 a month, then you're stuck in between, which is where I found myself, and I decided to leave. So is it time to come back? I don't know. I don't like the suburbs and I cannot afford Amsterdam, so I wouldn't want to live there in the first place. There's a sort of camp, you know, like we have some camps where we have people living, come on, why doesn't it flip back now? People living in sort of trailer homes. They're not gypsies, but they're our own people who like to live in trailer homes. I don't know. It's a sort of class in the Netherlands. We call them campers, but that's not a very polite thing to call someone. Although I don't know how they would call themselves either. Let's turn right. Like you can see how quiet it is and how boring it is for just, you know, young people. There's not much. And most of my younger friends, so that I really have friends left here, but they left for the bigger cities like Amsterdam. I have one acquaintance who moved to Malaysia, and that's about it. Most people stay at least in the country. So you see our bike infrastructure is pretty good. Although this is like not a truly rich city, so you might expect it to be a bit better for the Netherlands. But this city is not the creme de la creme of the country. It isn't. Although we do have a lot of rich folks, because every city in the Netherlands is planned out. So you have residential areas with, well, everything's planned. So the greenery, the schools, the hospitals. Like not everything is social housing, but the idea is the same, to give everyone the same standard of living. Now on the left we have sort of care facilities like the hospital. It's on the left right there. I'm just gonna, maybe this is kind of boring, but I'm just trying out a tripod and I'm gonna see if it stabilizes my camera. I'm sure it's working better than if I held it in my hand. There's the hospital. Was I born there? Yeah, I'm born there. That's our hospital. A fly just flew in my mouth. I'll show you just an area that has some higher income, a few nicer houses. I'm not gonna show you the center because it's like a 2-kilometer ride and it's kind of boring. Although the riverfront is pretty nice. you'll have to look it up. Like, just do an image search for T-I-E-L, Tiel. That's my city. And basically you would understand why I changed it for Sofia. Because the big city is just more fun. So now we get into a higher income place. These houses will cost you a fortune, although they're still pretty small. The housing crisis in this country is immense. And these are obviously all private homes. Just turn left here. And you can see just the difference, disparity. So it's not like everybody's completely on the same scale in Holland, which a lot of people think, but isn't true. I mean, just look. Like, our house is nice. I'm not gonna be filming it necessarily, but these are definitely nicer in terms of size, you know. Although I dare to say that we have one of the nicest gardens. Like, here you're in the shade and we have sun just all day. Here it's a bit more moist. Like, I wouldn't want to live here exactly. I prefer my elderly home, my parents' home. Which, yeah, you can see these are pretty good places to live. So, yeah, everybody lives well in this country. Like, pretty well. And basically everybody has a carefree childhood. Like, you can imagine how it was 20 years ago when kids played outside, which is now not really happening. Up, I need to turn around again. And I remember going to these neighborhoods to sell my postcards for school. Like, we had periods when we were supposed to go sell stamps and postcards for, what's it called? Like for a charity. Then I'd go to the richer areas like this, and people would spend tens and tens of bucks. An old childhood friend of mine lived in these streets, one of these streets, but I broke up the friendship when, like, it was in my 20s even, I broke up with him as a friend because he got just some nasty remarks because I was gay. It wasn't even jokes, but I felt some sort of like dislike. And I just said, yeah, if you don't appreciate me as a person, let's just stop this, you know. It's because once I came out for real. Like, I'm not gonna be someone I'm not, to the detriment of my own health and mental health. Basically lost touch with a lot of my friends. I have just one friend in the Netherlands who is still from high school, and that's it. Nobody else I have to talk to. Just the family. And you know, like, there's a lot of bullying still in these areas. Like, kids bully in general, but you'd say, oh, the Netherlands, tolerance, this and that. In my childhood, not really. Not at all. Quite the country. So not everything you think about this country is necessarily true. not at all. Let's turn left. Like, people in this country, they really don't like when you film them, or when you take pictures, or even when you film a street. People get, like, people in general, especially in this town, they're not friendly. Like you'd think rural. Oh, that's a driving school for a tractor. But you'd think, oh, rural living, people are nice. No, the people are not friendly in the city. I was with my father on the terrace Friday evening, like one of my favorite cafes when I still lived here. I just took a picture of the inside and the terrace. Weather came like, who are you? Where are you from? And I thought, yeah, I'm happy I'm not living here anymore. Like, you need to ask permission, this and that, even though it's a public area. Yeah, inside the cafe I would understand, because it's not. But I mean, whatever. It's a picture. So, you know, now we go here. We'll go left. Like, people are not friendly. I got a lot of fights. People are not laid back at all. Like, you look at someone too long, people get aggressive even. So I don't know. It's a mentality that I don't like. Is it like that in all of the Netherlands? No. But it is in a lot of places in this country. But again, what do I care? So now you've seen just the way it looks. A lot of people are very well off, but you can see these are sort of suburbs. People are not really outside. That's why I'd say, is this really living? Like, what do you do here? There's no cafe to sit outside. At least in these sort of, you know. Guess I'm just not a village guy. Or a small city guy. Just not. But I must say, it is peaceful living in general. Houses are pretty good. Like, here's a church. Like, you must be bored to tears right now, but I thought I'll just make you a video where I'm from. That's my elementary school right there. Church bells. Like, the longer I'm in the town, the more I realize, yeah, I want to get back to Bulgaria, the city. This was my city, or this was my school. What we do have is very nice streets, see? Like, the stones. Like, it's good here. But drop me a comment, would you live here? The quiet but good life. Why would you? Why would you not? Like, there's no good or worse or better or worse. Like, there's only preferences. Like, I can't criticize any of this if I've had basically the dream childhood many people would wish for, apart from some eras. Like, nothing of that. Like, my family provided the best thing, the best childhood they could give me. And some bullies, yeah, whatever. I guess most people went through this, especially if they're gay. Like, things could be worse. And I think things could have been better. At least not reasonably so. So anyway, that was just some reflections on this town. I'm happy to be back home. Gonna spend a few days and go back to the city. Here on the left is my street. And I'll be back home in a sec. So I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.